Charity shops and car boot sales, or flea markets as our American viewers will know them, can be full of surprises. Some days you will strike gold, while on others you will just plain strike out. Either way, as collectors we just can't help ourselves. The excitement of finding a new item for our collection, or even for someone else's, is up there with one of the most satisfying feelings you will ever feel. I'm lucky that I started early, and I still have my NES action set I bought as a kid, and all the games I bought for it. I even have a few more. But now I've reached the point where I can't afford the games I'm missing for a full collection, and I've moved on to the insane task of collecting sealed NES games. Because of this, the charity shops and car boot sales over here seem to no longer be able to service my itch for original Nintendo items, and end up buying or trading for sealed games online. But the itch is still there, and if I have time I'll spend an hour or so looking around my local charity shops once or twice a week in the hope of finding something. I've even started keeping an eye out for certain items for other collectors, you know who you are, and often have boxes full of items for them at a time. Fill the box, send it out, it's that simple. What do I do with the other items that I find? Well, I've always had an eye for DVDs, Blu-rays and video games, and what will and won't hold its value. At this stage I even know the trade-in value of many of them, and that's why I've decided to make this playlist. You see, each week I try and spend as little as I can to get as much as I can. It's basic economics. Spend less, get more, profit. I don't as much now, but when I started out, I'd set myself a budget of the max I could spend each week, and for your viewing pleasure I've decided to do it again, to prove it can still be achieved. So here's the rules. I start with merely €20 to spend. This can be used to fund the purchase of absolutely any items I wish to buy, but here's the tricky part. I must make back my €20 to spend the next time. For example, if I buy €5 worth of Blu-rays, I must sell them or be forced to only have €15 the next time out. Similarly, if I trade or sell the items I purchased and make a profit, I can keep that for my next outing. So €20 becomes €25 for example, and the next time the purse is up by €5. There are exceptions of course. If I see something from my own collection I have no intention of reselling, I'm free to buy it. In the same vein, if I see something I've been tasked to buy for others, that will be bought also. These people I'm looking out for are friends and no profit will be made, so it's only fair that it should have no impact on my overall budget. In my area alone there are 9 charity shops in close proximity, and I'm proud to say I've made friends with employees in several of them. Some will even hold things for me if they think I might be interested. When asked, however, not 1, not 2, not 4, but 0 of them would like to appear on camera, and I'll have to respect their privacy. So without further ado, and this could come to nothing, in the immortal words of Derek Delboy Trotter,
this time next year, we'll be millionaires.
What's up everyone? This video footage is actually from about 8 weeks ago, but I didn't get a chance to edit it just because I've been ill. The footage is really grainy and I'm aware of that now. I bought a pair of camera glasses and when you're in anywhere with low light it's just terrible, no scratches. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking back at this in retrospect and I'm going to add a bit to it afterwards after I kind of look at things and see what's in the video. I'm sure I'll remember some of it, but other bits, yeah, I might feel a bit sketchy, so if I go quiet at any stage it's just because I'm kind of watching it and I'm looking at it for the first time in a while like the rest of you. Some of the games that I'm going to pick up, like I mentioned, I know the trade-in prices and I'm not going to make a massive amount in some of the games, but I'm very lucky that a lot of the stores near me that they do, as you can see here, a lot of the games are like €1 each. If it's a DVD or if it's a DVD size, even if it's a game like a DS game, they'll always have them there for €1. I was looking at that because some of the SingStar games, the 80s ones, they're actually Ireland specific, which is pretty good. I use them for trade bait and stuff like that when I'm trading with people in the States, because a lot of people like stuff that isn't available in their own region. I have a load of them, but they end up being really cheap and they're pretty good trade bait, like I said. Oh yeah, I remember this. This shop always has stuff, even if it's only PS2 games, but they always have stuff. I'm sure it's the same in most places. They're outside town or they're kind of on the outskirts, so it's handier to kind of stop and to drop stuff off into the shop. This one is similar. This is 2 doors down. It's actually near the end of the street. It's not actually marked as a charity shop, but they do collect stuff for charity. I've had varied success in this store. Most recently I got a phone call because she got in some N64 games. I won't have video of that because it was actually just a drop in on my way home from hospital one day. But yeah, I did really well. I got quite a lot of N64 games after for quite a nice price. But I, as with all charity shops, really, I try to drop stuff into them regularly because, in fairness to them, they've paid for a lot of the stuff that I have going forward. Because I am kind of someone who just, like I said, I do know the prices of things and what they trade in on, and if I can make a profit, then I've no problem just flipping something to kind of fund my next CLNS game or my next item from my collection. This place, for example, I was asked not to film there, and they never read well, not to film. Not that I was asked not to film there, but I was asked kind of not to have people because the store members and stuff. A lot of them do it voluntary, and some of them do it anonymously, and I can barely speak. They just don't want to be on camera. But they do have retro stuff every now and again. They very rarely get games in, but when they do get games in, they're fabulous. They're just like, we never find retro stuff. I'm sure in your own areas you'll probably find retro stuff from time to time, but one of the main things in Ireland is that it's really hard to find old retro stuff. Anything that's card-based is just kind of unheard of unless it's like a DS game or something. Yeah, we're moving on to Thursday now. The majority of the time that I go into town, it'll be Tuesday and Thursday, because it kind of ties in with an appointment that I have. So it's kind of like an outstanding every week I try and get in. The weather can be bad and it can be good, just that's the way things are in Ireland. This shop, for example, it was actually in the last video, they always have stuff free. I found free magazines, free DVDs, free games out, the stuff. They just leave stuff out, they just get overstocked. We pick up teddy bears every now and again. Yeah, they were €2 each. And I actually sold some similar ones. I think I have about 6 of them. I used to collect them myself. I've actually stopped now since I've moved into the smaller room. Yeah, but they're really generous, and again, because I hand stuff into them so regularly, I actually gave them in an insane amount of PS2 games the other day. I offered them to a friend of mine, but he never replied, and he said himself that he's cutting down. I was telling him that he could offer them to someone, but he didn't actually reply. I gave them in a ridiculous amount of PS2 games, so it'll probably taunt me when I go in now, because I'm sure the shelves will be packed of them and it'll all be stuff that I've given away. But I don't collect PS2 games anymore, and I just thought, sure, if they make money as a charity from it rather than kind of me squirreling them at home or keeping them, I have a storage locker that I keep stuff in from now and again. I don't know, I like doing things for charity. They look after me, and I feel it's like your sense of duty to pay it forward, and they have a nice time, or people can get a nice time from finding things in the wild. This store is ridiculous. This is kind of closer into town, but they always seem to have pirated goods in their store, like always have pirated goods. They recently, I'm saying recently, about 6 months ago, gave me a chipped Xbox 360. I actually gave it to someone. I donated. I do a lot. Again, it's down to the charity thing. I'm mad consoles, and I give them away to people who are autistic. I do a lot for the autistic community, and I give things to people who are, I don't know, lesser off than, like, they don't have as much money as me, or they can't spend things, and I don't know, I find gaming helps people, and it's done an awful lot for me in my life, and I kind of link to the community and stuff, and I make great friends from it. So I love paying back, and I love people kind of getting encouragement or having good fun, enjoying gaming, because like it's a way to kind of switch your brain off, and if it means someone else is getting the benefit of it as well, I love how kind of,
because they don't have the case.
I don't know, helpful it is, or kind of it makes people feel better. Okay, I'm kind of talking over this a lot. I had meant to do this differently, but what can you do? We're going more into town now. Things end up being more expensive kind of the closer you get into the city centre. This shop, for example, it used to have games when it is moved for like €1 or less, but now all of the games seem to be marked at like €5. I think this day, I'm not 100% sure, I can't remember, but I think the prices are actually pretty good. But since they've skyrocketed, like, they have PS2 games for like €5 a piece and stuff, so they're obviously kind of checking online. And I mean, I can't give out, I get games other places and I do resell them, I admit that. This is what this whole thing is about. I'm trying to prove how much money I can get, and is it possible to kind of go back and start your collecting from the start, or if you wanted to kind of fund something else. It is, obviously, I mean, you can see what I'm finding, but just forgot about that. Yeah, it is, and I think people, if they do want to start again, you'll never find the retro games that you could have found before. I mean, people know what they're worth, even the stores know what they're worth, but you will find games that are enjoyable. I mean, the Xbox 360 has some great games. The PS3 has some great games. The PS2, the original Xbox. I mean, there are some fabulous games. People don't quite count them as retro, but I mean, to me, anything that's not of this generation or even the previous generation, if you can actively buy it in a store, I mean, obviously, other than the game shops and stuff, I mean, it's retro. I mean, yeah, it's on a disc, but I mean, it's still retro, and there's still a great catalogue of games. If you haven't tried them, it's worth getting into them. Now we're kind of moving further into town again. This shop is an exception. This shop also has games. It has games quite frequently, but people check it a lot because it is downtown. But again, they're like €1 go, and the CDs are 50. So if there's any like PS1 games or even PC CD games, they normally end up being 50 cents, which is pretty cool. The staff are really nice as well, and they tend to hold stuff for me because they know I'm kind of in and out. I'm a familiar face, and again, I donate stuff to them. This is actually a local bookstore. They get in stuff every now and again, which is pretty cool. This was kind of leading up to the kind of Christmas period, so they had lots of kind of old gremlin things and things like that. I mean, they're all new, they're not old, but they just look pretty cool. Oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Battery in my stupid glasses are wasted, so we filmed this in my phone afterwards, but they had some amazing prices and some cool games, and like they got some good money for trading these in, so yeah, it was a good week. If you'd like to buy or trade for anything in this video, or even just to message me and ask me to keep an eye out for something while I'm on my travels, don't hesitate to contact me through NES Collector's Trading Post. It's my personal page on Facebook, and it's up to date with everything that's available.